Coach, obviously really good game against Liberty. What were some of the defensive takeaways from that game that you kind of want to carry into this next one?
I addressed it a little bit right after the game. I wanted to watch the film first to see how many shots they missed that were actually just wide open, and I felt like that they missed a good amount of open shots. Even though we're, whatever we are, number 11, 10, 12 in the country in three-point percentage defense, I felt that we still had too many breakdowns in the second half and gave them too many open looks. Luckily, obviously, they missed them. With that being said, I think that the way that we play sometimes gets guys to rush their shots a little bit more, and our speed and our athleticism, our length. You're constantly, as a shooter, kind of looking over your shoulder to see if the guy's coming to block your shot. So I think that weighs into some of it, but at the end of the day, we've got to tighten up a little bit more defensively. We put ourselves in way too many rotations on Saturday, and if we do that against Sam Houston State, it's going to be a long night.
That being said, though, you guys have certainly shown an ability to find a way. It's got to be encouraging to see you guys come up with that last play as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's Monday morning. We just beat Liberty. We're number one in the conference. If we're not encouraged, then I'm a doomsday kind of guy, and I try not to be that. Yeah, I'm encouraged. I mean, we've had, a great start thus far. We're 1-0, but we're just 1-0. There's still, what do we have left? 15 more games? There's 15 more conference games to go. But to have beaten Liberty and, with 4 or 5 minutes to go, be up 13 and have command of the game, that shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that our ceiling can be high if we'll if we'll continue to remain focused defensively and then take care of the ball on offense.
Coach, Dante Allen has been a game changer the last couple of games. What's he been kind of doing in practice that you've been liking, and how crucial is he going to be on the road?
Yeah, Dante's done great. I mean, last game it was Dante. The game before it was Tyrone and Christian. We have a team that on different nights, different guys have stepped up. Now we have had a few nights where maybe none of us stepped up, but we've got good players. We've got several guys that obviously could be in the starting lineup, and when they get their opportunity, they rise to the occasion, and Dante certainly did that on Saturday. I thought Dante, I thought Brandon, I thought Rodney, all three of those guys, especially in the second half, were very, very good for us. Don's been very steady for us as well, but Christian might not have scored a whole bunch on Saturday like he did against Abilene Christian, but defensively I thought he was pretty darn good, and I think that's part of just the way that we play. I mean, we either have the number 1 or number 2 tempo in the country. So that means that we have a lot of possessions, we play very fast, and when you play that way, it allows a lot of guys to play. And when you have good players and you find the night where those good players maybe are having a great night, and then you kind of go with them on that night.
Speaking of that, like you said, it was Christian against Abilene Christian, and then it was Don this past game. How do you go about divvying up the ball handling duties, and how do you go about what's your philosophy on that?
Well, I like to have multiple ball handlers on the floor at all time, and I don't get caught up in, are you a 1 or a 2 or a 3? I mean, you're a basketball player and you can handle the ball or you can't. It's just going to be a matter of who's not going to turn the ball over and who's going to get us into some sort of offense so that we can follow the game plan at the end of the day, because there's tweaks and adjustments that you make for every game. Those guys are all good players and they can all handle the ball. So I always want to have at least 2 on the floor at any time, especially with teams that press and trap and those sorts of things. We didn't see that against Liberty, but we'll see it on Wednesday at Sam Houston.
This is a return to your home state. Is it all business? Do you get to work in some family time? How's that going to work out for you?
No, it's all business. I mean, I'm lucky that my daughter plays in Austin on Tuesday night, and so my wife and my son and her family can come over to her mom and dad can come over to the game on Wednesday. My daughter, unfortunately, has another big game on Friday, and the coach, you can't miss practice Thursday and Wednesday and playing a big game on Friday, so she won't be able to come. But no, I'll have a lot of friends and a lot of family that will come up to the game, and they'll stop by the hotel maybe the night before. They'll come to the game early, and you'll get a chance to visit. And a lot of high school coaches that I've been friends with for a long time, have said they're going to come. So it'll be exciting to see people and be able to visit, but at the same time, none of that can distract us from what our task is at hand, and that's figuring out a way to go beat Sam Houston.
And you mentioned their defense. What do you think? Just came off and went against Lutz, a big win. What do you know about them, and what do you look forward to facing them on?
Yeah, no. I mean, Chris Mudge, I've known him forever. We're good friends. He worked for Jason Hooten for a long, long time. And we all kind of came up in the business at the same time. We were all assistant coaches. Some of us went to junior college. Some of us went to wherever. And now we're kind of all getting old enough, I guess, to where we are the head coaches. So he believes in probably a lot of the same things that I do. Very physical, aggressive, hard-nosed, man-to-man. And they force people into turnovers. I think they forced Louisiana Tech into 17 or 18 turnovers on Saturday. And obviously we, against Liberty, who's not a team that forces a bunch of turnovers, we turned the ball over way too much. We had 20. So, we've got to be cognizant of taking care of the basketball and being strong with the ball. But they're going to play very physical and very aggressive, just like we will.
That physicality, especially, there was a lot of different this past Saturday. I think that kind of played to the hand of Rodney a little bit. He had 11-9 off the bench. How do you feel about him in his progression so far, especially over this past month or so? He's had, game after game where he's, it seems like he's excelled.
Yeah, anytime Rodney is aggressive, it helps us. And sometimes I talk to him a lot about not settling. And anytime we throw the ball in the post, if he's one-on-one, I tell him to go score. And I tell Bob and BJ the same thing. That's kind of our rule. If you're one-on-one, you're a college player, you should be able to go score the basketball. But where I think that he did a much better job in the second half especially is he tried to rebound the basketball. I mean, he got a couple of over-the-back calls. Whether they were over the back calls or not, that's to be disputed by the fans. But when he's aggressive doing those things, that's going to help our basketball team, and he certainly was that. I mean, towards the end, we missed the free throw late in the game. Rodney almost got that rebound. He gets that rebound, they may not get that shot towards the end. So Rodney, BJ, Baba, we need those guys to continue to be productive in the post for us, and especially rebounding.
Baba picked up a couple of quick fouls in that game. Probably had to bring in Howard a little earlier than he wanted to. Did you have to play him more? Were you comfortable with the minutes he had in that game?
Yeah, no, I'm totally comfortable with starting Rodney, playing Rodney, whatever minutes he can handle, just like I am with Baba. Those two guys, both of them, in my mind, can be starters, and both should and could be very productive players. If I would like to think that we should get, 20 points and 12 to 15 rebounds out of those two guys at that position. It hasn't quite been that productive every game, but that's what I would like to get out of the position just between the two of them. So, as I said, we're a work in progress. We need to keep going.
Kind of looking forward into Jack State on Saturday. You come back there home for a quick trip. Their coach, Ray Harper, the old coach here at Western Kentucky, he was the last coach here to take them to take Western to the NCAA tournament. What do you know about him and his time here and how he?
Well, I'm not looking forward to Jack State. I'm looking towards Sam Houston. I've known Coach Harper for a long, long time, since he was at Kentucky Wesleyan, and they were winning national titles. He's a very good basketball coach. He's got a tough, scrappy team, and they've got a guy, the Tandy kid, and he had 35 on Saturday night. So they've got some scoring. I'm sure that Coach Harper will want to always beat Western. I mean, that's just human nature, that you want to come back maybe to a place that you were at and you want to beat them. But, you know, we have to focus on Sam Houston first.
Just wanted to give an update on Jalen too. Last time we talked about him, you said he had a decision to make. Is that progressed at all in this conversation?
No. I mean, obviously he had surgery and we just, you know, there's a lot of different things that go into it. Number one, compliance is checking on, you know, does he qualify for a medical red shirt? And then, you know, does he want to come back? Does he want to turn professional? I don't know. I haven't really pushed him on it because there's no reason to at this point. It's he and his family's decision. We would welcome him back, obviously, if he wants to come back, and we'll kind of go from there. I mean, you know, productive players are productive players, and he is certainly one. So we would welcome him back, and you know, he represents the community and the team well. So I would like to think that because of, you know, the way people treat him here and treat our players here and how important basketball is, that there's a good possibility he comes back. But we'll cross that bridge when he wants to get there.
Anything else? I was hoping you could tell me if you have any history at Sam Houston State. Have you ever coached there?
Yeah, good question. So when I was at Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston State was in our league. So we played there every single year. Sam Houston State and Stephen F. Austin are rivals. And Bob Marlin was the coach at Sam Houston, and Danny Casper was at Stephen F. And by the time I left, we were the top two teams in the league typically. So my most vivid memory of that is we're playing in the conference tournament championship, and a really good game, and we go down to the last possession, and I suggest to Danny Casper to go 2-3 zone. Obviously, I don't play zone here, so for me to go 2-3 zone was a big leap of faith, and Donald Cole hit a 3 from the corner, and they ended up going to the NCAA tournament, and we did not. So Johnson Coliseum always brings back some vivid memories of not always great times. And then when I was the head coach at A&M Corpus Christi, I went and took our team over to play Jason Hooten in a scrimmage. We would scrimmage one another each year. So we went there one year and they came to us one year. You know, it's a nice coliseum. It's very big. It's old school. And it's a good shooting gym, so hopefully we'll shoot the ball well. But yeah, a lot of good memories, a lot of good games in Johnson Coliseum. Yep. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.